Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This is our NFL Draft Bible Division II Football Senior Seminar Zoom show. That's a mouthful if I've ever heard a mouthful. I am Ryan Roberts here, Director of Scouting for NFL Draft Bible, NFL Draft writer also for the Dynasty Draft Room, co-host of the Believe in NFL Draft Prospects podcast, host of Baldy's Breakdown Scouting Seminar that we do every third week, and Friday Night Scout School, which is every Friday night, where I get to tag team some film sessions with Mr. David Turner, who is an 18-year scouting vet in the NFL, Arena League, and Canadian Football League. So really excited to bring this to you all tonight with everything that the COVID world has been this offseason, with all the madness. Some guys are waiting to play the football season. Some guys a little longer than others. Division II players. I have the opportunity to bring you all a panel of 6, hopefully 7 very soon, of the best football players on the level. And when I say the best football players on the level, that is no exaggeration. I have all conference, all Americans. I have the absolute best of the best on the Division II level. I'm happy to be able to bring their stories, their accomplishments, and who they are as people, not just players on Saturdays. So excited to bring this for you. Before I introduce my co-host for tonight, I want to let you all know that if you would rather watch just the speaker, there is a speaker view option at the top middle of the screen. If you would rather watch the full room at all times, there is a gallery mode as well, bottom of the screen. At the end, I'm going to allow a Q&A session. I'm going to allow people to come off of mute to ask players questions directly. So bottom, middle of the screen, there is a chat box. At any point, you can throw a question into the chat. At the when we get to the Q&A session, I will allow whoever asks the question to come off the mute and ask their question directly. So want to thank all the viewers for coming in. Of course, again, want to thank my great panel. And I want to thank Rick Saratella, Dakota Faulk behind the scenes at Draft Bible, who continue to do great work over there. They've been covering the draft now at NFL Draft Bible since 2002, anything and everything you need to know. And I am so excited also to have, I can't forget about him, my co-host, Alex Gilstrap, who I work with at the Believe in NFL Draft Prospects podcast, on with me right now. Alex, super excited, man. How you feeling tonight, brother?
Man, I'm feeling good. Obviously, you summed it up perfectly. We have the best of the best in Division II, and in a season like you said where COVID was rampant and it kind of affected things, and everyone talks about it on the Division I level, on the Power 5 level. Those guys aren't affected like these guys are. I mean, I think every guy here has true aspirations to make it to the next level, and when you talk about what this COVID situation has done for them and their senior season, it's really unfair. So I'm so thankful for NFL Draft Bible and all the guys behind the scene putting this on. I want to thank you, Ryan, for allowing me to be here with you and these guys, just kind of, getting the names out there. Cause like you said before the show, a lot of it's just a name, and we see that with the media. There's different media outlets across the media, I should say, and that can get these guys out there. So just excited to be out here. And like you said, these are the best of the best. I mean, some of these guys I definitely have known for a minute, and we'll go into that as we get there. But I appreciate you having me on, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how it's going to work is we're going to introduce our panel one by one, ask a couple questions, and then of course we're going to lead up to that Q&A session. We're probably going to get a little more of a personal inside view into them as people and players. I've had the fortune of interviewing several of these young men in the past. I've gotten to know them on a more personal level to a degree, and this is why I wanted to really highlight this. Without them having a full season potentially, or no season at all until the spring, I don't want people to lose sight of how great football players these are and how great of young men they are. So without further ado, we're going to start off our panel for tonight. I get to introduce as the first victim of the night, Mr. Zach Davidson, tight end from the University of Central Missouri. Zach is an All-American tight end for Central Missouri. He's fresh off a dominant junior year at the position. 6'7", 245-pound pass catcher, recorded 894 yards and 15 touchdowns on just 40 receptions. For you math fiends out there, that's 22.4 yards per catch. Zach is also an accomplished punter for the team, averaged over 44 yards a punt as a freshman, and now and in his career, 42.4. So he's been very accomplished on both offense and special teams for the team during his career. Zach inviting you in to come off a mute here, man. Introduce yourself, and I'm so pumped to have you on, especially, my brother.
I appreciate you having me. I mean, this is a great outlet for some of us. I mean, not having a season, this is a time for people to get to know us. And man, I'm just here to get the word out. I'm a punter playing receiver, man. I like to go up and get the ball. I'm just happy to be here, man.
Oh, absolutely. And Zach's selling himself a little short. You know, a punter trying to be just a punter being a wide receiver. You pop on the film, man. This guy is a next level talent without any concern, in my opinion. Now, Zach, obviously, your major contribution in the beginning of your career was as the punter, right? You kind of had to develop into the tight end and the pass catcher that you are now. Talk to me a little bit about that development and how you have been able to turn yourself into an All-American caliber tight end now.
I think coming into Central Missouri, using their tight ends the way they do in the pass game and in the run game, we're very versatile. Some would even call us an H-back at some point. Just being able to develop into a system and have the weight program they had here and have really utilizing my redshirt year. And that allowed me to gain the 20 pounds and then also allowed me to learn the offense because I was in all the meetings instead of in the scout meetings. But coming in as a punter, I was able to be in tune in the game early as a freshman. I was able to receive third team Don Hanson All-American as a freshman. And then sophomore year, I got a couple looks at tight end. And then really just was able to grow behind the first team All-American ahead of me, who was 2 years older than me, Seth Aber. And he showed me the ropes of what he had, and I just took it and ran with it. And I was lucky to have an offensive coordinator that liked to utilize the position the way he did. A lot of vertical threat stuff, a lot across the field, a lot of cross the formation blocks. I mean, all of it. And it's just allowed me to grow my knowledge of football as well at the same time. So.
Well, Zach, let me ask you, obviously you have a very unique situation. You said starting as a punter, coming over to tight ends. So talking about that development of moving over to the tight end position, you obviously had to put a lot of time and work into that. So take us through a typical practice day, you know, playing both positions that you play. You know, how have you become so accomplished at both?
Punting was more natural because in high school, that's all I did my junior and senior year. I did play a little bit of tight end. I had 4 receptions my senior year for 3 touchdowns and 170-some yards. Just not really getting the targets as a senior. I really didn't have the size either. I came in at 215 at 6'6", and really was just spending time in the weight room outside of practice and really watching film and learning how to find the weak spots in the defense and utilize it to the best of our ability.
And Zach, you just mentioned to us before we started that your team does have a couple games that they're scheduled for this fall, unlike some guys that we have in here. Talk to me about the ability to have some semblance of a season, and what are those goals going to look like with what seems to be a very limited season overall?
Right now, we only have set up 2 games that we've heard of. I mean, it hasn't been released. I mean, who knows? We could have another COVID outbreak and it all get shut down. But for somebody in my position who's just looking for that extra 3 to 4 games of film, I mean, just to prove myself in my situation and not having this season and really having aspirations to play at the next level, I'm looking at it to just be as dominant as I can within whatever opportunity I receive, and just really use it to the best of my ability and just try and stay healthy through it all and just use it to grow and not waste time.
Absolutely. Well, we're definitely going to catch up with Zach a little later in the show, but that is Mr. Zach Davidson, tight end, again, out of Central Missouri. Alex has our next introduction, who is a very good one, by the way.
Yeah, and talk about, I alluded to this at the beginning of the show, someone that I've known for a while, and that's Julius Falk, cornerback from Delta State. As I said in the pre-show, I go to West Georgia, and if I recall correctly, you had 2 interceptions against against West Georgia last year. So you definitely popped off the film there. So I've known this name for a while, but nickname Junior, I should say. Falk had a dynamic 2019 season after transferring from Southwest Mississippi Community College. Talking about the ball skills, the 2 interceptions against West Georgia, had 9 on the year and 22 pass breakups. En route to his All-American honors. Played some wide receiver early in his career, Junior definitely uses those ball skills that he had playing the receiver position, and you see that production put on last year with those 9 interceptions, 22 pass breakups. Mr. Junior, how you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Glad to be here.
I appreciate you coming on with us. Let's go back to that time at Southwest Mississippi Community College. Give us a breakdown of how that time was for you and kind of how it prepped you to be where you are today.
Man, it was a blessing in disguise, man. When I first went there, I wasn't thinking about where I'm at now. I was playing receiver. My favorite player was Odell Beckham, so I thought I was gonna be a receiver, man. Then I kind of like started thinking about it. I was 185. I was catching the ball across the middle. I wasn't really getting anything. It was kind of a tough decision. So the defensive coordinator sat me down and said, would you like to move to cornerback? I was like, yeah, sure. And that was like one of the best things that ever happened to me because I'm 210. Now I really focus on becoming like great at things, not because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And Julius, fortunately, man, we had an opportunity to speak in the past, which I was really excited to get you on here. Coach Terry, kind of fill me in, man, just what type of person you are. Your first season at Delta, like Alex said, right, those 9 interceptions, 22 pass breakups. Just what type of blessing was that for you, Junior, that season that you were able to have? And did that hit every standard and expectation you had for your first season at Delta?
For sure. I wrote 3 goals down to him. I told him I wanted to be All-American, All-Conference, and I wanted to lead the nation in interception. He didn't bet eye at me. He knew I was serious, and I kind of like put the work in. I'm glad he trusted in me. He let me play my game. I'm kind of a press man type of guy. So he played man probably 70% of the time because of me. And I really, really appreciate him for that because if it wasn't for him, I don't think I'd be where I'm at right now.
Look, my favorite thing about you is how nuanced you are at the position and only being playing it for a little bit now. I mean, that's just insane how well you play the position so early on in your career. So obviously you're trying to build off of that year and everything COVID has happened, but what are you trying to do right now to take that game to the next level?
Trying to get my numbers up as well. Like I've been talking to a couple scouts, trying to get my numbers up is my 40 time, my bench number, all my measurables and things of that nature, because I'm trying to prepare myself for the next level with this COVID delay since we're not going to be able to play in the fall. And it's just getting better and studying more film, and that's the biggest thing for me.
And we have next on the panel, again, that is Mr. Julius Junior Falk. Happy to have him with us. Another young man that I was able to have a conversation with a couple months ago now is Mr. JaQuan Hardy, who is a running back out of Tiffin University. After a meniscus tear, actually, that ended his junior season, or actually sophomore season at the time, in his left knee. The running back, Mr. JaQuan Hardy, who was the best running back on the D2 level without a doubt. In 2019, he ended with he came with an absolute vengeance, rushing for 1,554 yards, 15 touchdowns, 7.6 yards per carry. Yes, you heard that one right. Throwing a school record 94-yard touchdown run into that campaign. You have equated to what was an All-American campaign for JaQuan. 9-2 record for the team. I know that the Dragons have even bigger expectations heading into the spring. JaQuan, bringing you off, man. How's everything going for you?
Man, God is great. I can't complain. God is great.
And that's one thing that even going back to our conversation, JaQuan is very spiritual. JaQuan, he has a deep belief in everything. And I know that JaQuan, Westlake High School was where you were coming out of originally up there in Ohio, Tiffin University. Talk to me about why Tiffin was the best fit for you and maybe, what made them really stand out overall.
So what really made them stand out for me was the coaches would actually come up to me in person to my high school and would talk to me about their facilities and every single thing that every other coach would talk about. But what really stood out was just about how they told me they would make a specific type of offense built around me. And this kind of gave me the imagination that I would just be out there running around and having fun. So I kind of just took it and ran with it. And ever since then, I just try to stay humble as much as I can be and just have fun every single rep.
Look, obviously, you know, Tiffin's been great to you. And Ryan alluded to it, that meniscus tear in your left knee. So take us back to that injury. Obviously, I'm sure everyone on this panel knows of someone who lost their opportunity at the next level due to injury. That's just the name of the game at the D2 level. You don't have second chances. But you were able to scrape by and get one for yourself. So take us back to that injury and you know, how surreal was the season that you were able to put together coming back from that injury?
So focusing on the injury, I definitely was down on myself. It made me realize that every single rep matters, and football can be taken away from you just like that fast. So realistically, it set me back, but it set me back as a minor comeback, and I had a major comeback. So I really it set me up to thrive, and I eventually I worked through therapy. I worked every single day, and that's just outside of therapy. I was working every single day, and I ended up just having a great year. And eventually, my knee didn't hurt as much because I ended up getting a cortisone shot, so I wasn't able to feel the pain. So I was pretty great.
JaQuan, I know obviously bigger expectations now right after that dominant season you had. Talk to me about this offseason, because it's been, I know, a struggle for a lot of people. What has the offseason been like for you, and how have you been able to navigate some of the negative attention, obviously?
So for me, I've been focused on getting faster and just being more fluid in everything I do, like running the ball or catching the ball or just being flexible, like all the small things, all the precise things. So it's just I've been focusing on stretching the most is the biggest thing. Being healthy, going to treatment, and eating healthy is another thing. And I've been focused on alkaline water, alkaline foods, eating fruits and vegetables. So basically, I just been focused on a bunch of small things, because eventually the small things will add up to a bigger picture. And it's just about being disciplined and being consistent in every single thing you do.
Absolutely.
Man, that's awesome. So, I mean, you know, we'll come back to you, obviously. But next up, we're going to move on to the next one. Kenny Randall, defensive lineman, University of Charleston. If you haven't seen already, Ryan sent it to me in the DMs, the backflip, 320-pounder, as nimble as he is. That's very impressive. But it's not just athleticism. It's not just size. I mean, this guy put on 110 tackles, 30 tackle for loss, and 9 sacks over the last 2 seasons, an all-MEC selection in each of the last 2 seasons. Randall's a big contributor to that Charleston defense, 2.9 yards a carry for that team defensively in 2019. So, Kenny, how you doing? I appreciate you coming on for us today.
How you doing? I appreciate you taking the time for me.
Kenny's ready to go, man. Look at him. He's got
dude. He's showing out for us. He wants us to know what he's about. Let's talk about your history and coming up. So coming from Mainland Regional High School in New Jersey, I believe you had to stop at Milford Academy if memory serves.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Oh, you're representing it. That's what he's showing us. So what did that first stop at Milford do for you?
It opened my eyes is what it did. It was it's in the middle of a little town in New York, upstate New York, probably like an hour away from Syracuse. Not much there. I think the closest restaurant was like an hour away, so it was really nothing, no cell phone service. So it was just me and the guys, and it was just football. All I had was football, weights. So it definitely opened my eyes and gave me a different love for the game.
And Kenny, I have to ask, man, because I actually didn't get a chance to ask this to you when we were, kind of prepping for the show. You're a New Jersey guy, I saw, right? Atlantic City?
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right,
sir.
Man. South Jersey is in the building. I'm a South Jersey guy as well, so I'm glad that we could, get you on here. Obviously, Alex talked about your stop in Milford. I want to know though, Charleston, right? I've heard Charleston's a beautiful place. I have not personally been. What was it about when you went through that second cycle of recruiting, quote unquote? Why was Charleston the best fit overall?
Charleston was the first team that reached out for me, and I'm a loyal guy. So with them being the first team that reached out for me, I was ready to go. I was ready to put everything I had into it, and I had looked up the school. I did some research, and I like what I seen. I came here. The view is pretty. It's my first time ever in the mountains. first time ever seeing a deer when I came here, so it was definitely something that I like to see.
It's awesome, man. So obviously you have a lot of backfield production. What would you say has been the biggest improvement of your game over these last few years?
I build up I think the biggest part of the game is probably speed. I was a slow guy at first, but I got stronger, faster, and I put that all into the game. I built a bull rush that I think that nobody can block. So I think that's the best thing I got.
Love it, man. So again, there's Mr. Kenny Randall, defensive lineman out of Charleston. Supposed to have his teammate, Mr. Michael Strawn, on with us. It looks like Mike's having maybe some technical issues, so we're going to move on to one of my favorites. I'll tell you straight up. Some guys, in the agent community, once in a while will ask me for a guy to keep an eye on, and I tell them Brayden Thomas, defensive lineman from Minnesota State, is a guy to definitely keep an eye on. Began his career, his college career actually at the University of Mary. Minnesota State defensive lineman Brayden Thomas put together one of the most dominant 2019 season across the entire Division II level. 57 tackles, 21 tackles for loss. He also had 11 and a half sacks. He was a part of a defense that allowed just 15.2 points per game, 2.3 yards per carry, only allowed a 49% completion percentage against them, and had 23 interceptions. They made it to the national championship game. Fell a little short in that game, but Mr. Brayden Thomas is on with us. Brayden, again, man, appreciate you taking some time with us today.
Yeah, man, it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Brayden, we want to start out, telling the viewers about your stop at the University of Mary. I know when I had the interview with you. You mentioned a little bit about that stop on that end, but talk to me about just the University of Mary and how you ultimately ended up now where you are at Minnesota State.
Yeah, man, coming out of high school, I had some looks. Just North Dakota, I wouldn't say is very heavily recruited, but NDSU, UND, those kind of schools, but ended up just going with some buddies or so, kind of impulse decision to Mary, showed up there, and culture didn't fit me, man. I want to win, and we showed up there, and almost like losing was okay. 1-10 isn't my style, so I figured it was time to reach out and see what happened. When I showed up here, all the coaches were pretty upset when they went 8-3, so I figured it was a good program, and they showed a lot of respect, so it was a great fit.
I love that. I love that winning mentality and how important that is for you. Let's talk about, obviously, the big issue this season is COVID. Let's talk about what have you been doing? How have you been able to navigate this difficult off season? How are you getting better?
Man, it's finally been opened up the facilities and stuff, so we've been able to get in the weight room, get with some position coaches and do some stuff on the field. But it seems like everyone else is getting helmets and pads and stuff, but we haven't been blessed with that opportunity yet. I hope it comes soon. We're looking at October 20th right now, I think. So we'll see how the whole COVID thing plays out here, but hoping that comes through.
And I know, Brayden, that the season obviously didn't end the way you guys want after having such just a dynamite season up until that end, in the national championship game. But I know a lot of times, right, like those types of losses can really stay with the team and can fuel them going into the next season. For you, what has the atmosphere and mindset been like around the team, or, just maybe in group chats? Like what has kind of just been the thought process as far as how you guys are going to attack this next season?
Yeah, man, it's been different every year. So we lost in the quarterfinals my sophomore year, or my redshirt freshman year technically, and then sophomore year lost in the semifinals, now the national championship. So, every year it's just attempting to get one step bigger and one step better, and we've been working at that. But obviously we wanted to finish out on top last year, so that's still sitting in the gut, upset, and I think it's time to figure that one out.
So after we give these intros and these first few questions, we're obviously going to open it up like Ryan alluded to at the beginning of the show. But before we do that, we have Dareke Young, wide receiver, running back. Let's just call him an athlete, Lenoir-Rhyne University. Obviously, Lenoir-Rhyne was put on the radar after Kyle Duggar was selected to the New England Patriots in the second round in this year's draft. The Lenoir-Rhyne has another athlete coming up in Dareke Young, a do-it-all athlete for the team. Young is fresh off 992 all-purpose yards between rushing and receiving, 12 touchdowns, creating mismatches all over the field. I love the way they utilize you in the offense. I appreciate you coming on with us. How are you doing
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Well, obviously, like I alluded to, Kyle Duggar was able to put some real attention from the NFL and scouting circles on the university. So, what has that meant for guys like you who also have aspirations at making it to the next level?
It means a lot. I use it to my advantage because not every day you get to go against a guy who has a scout at practice every day, and that just fuels me last year to go hard in practice, because even though they're there to look at him, I might make a play and then they'll be like, who's that guy right there? So it was a great feeling. He made a lot of us better, and I also stayed with him. So like I saw him every day, what he did to get better on his journey. I saw him on a bunch of Zoom calls. I've been on a few Zoom calls already, so I asked him for advice here and there on how to go about it, talking to scouts, talking to agents, things of that nature.
And I have my partner in crime on Friday Night Scout School, David Turner, who just commented and said, Lenoir-Rhyne looks the part. Obviously, man, we only get the best on this type of show. So, Dareke, I want to ask you, man, because I feel like I've asked a couple guys this already. It's been a tough offseason for some. How has it been for you, just navigating everything and trying to make the best of the situation that we're in?
I feel like our new coaching staff has done a great job with the COVID protocol. We haven't had too many guys test positive, and since the school year started, we haven't had any guys test positive. So as far as like working out and stuff, it's been on a normal schedule. As far as in the weight room, everybody has to wear a mask. Not too many people could be in there, but we're getting work in every day. We have practice coming up tomorrow, so I look forward to that. I feel like we're doing a really good job as far as COVID goes.
You alluded to being able to see how Duggar was able to go about his daily life and get better and kind of using it to your advantage is what you said. So what have you been doing? What's been a point of emphasis for you to take your game to the next level?
One thing that the scouts are really looking forward to me improving is my route running. Like you said, last year I was a running back receiver. The offensive style that we did last year was more so like wing T. Right. So I was in the box a lot. Sometimes I would go out the slot. Sometimes I would go out to outside receiver. But this year with the new coaching staff, I'm going to be an actual like true receiver. So I've been working on a lot of indie drills, getting my feet right, running a lot of routes on my own, things I can't do when I'm with my coach during practice time. But the main thing that I'm focused on is route running, because I already have everything else. I have the hands, I have the speed, I'm physical. Last year I was blocking DNs, linebackers. This year I'll be out there with the cornerback. So this year I'm just really focused on route running and getting open.
And Dareke, I will say, just watching your highlights a little bit, man, like usually those little guys are the ones running the jet sweeps, and then you see big number one, right, 6'3", 210 running the jet sweep. Like that's a terrifying sight, man. I'm thinking back to my linebacker days of like I would not want any part of that personally. So appreciate obviously Dareke coming on here. We're going to open up to some questions from the viewers that are with us. We also have some more questions, a little more playful, a little more from a personal level. So, David Turner, if you would like to come off, I think you were referring to Julius Falk in terms of how often he works out with the wide receivers during practice. If you want to come off, my friend.
Yeah, I was trying to gauge the DB and how often he's on the field, actually working against receivers and using his press techniques and really covering since he's new to the position.
Okay,
Julius, sorry, Julius, go ahead.
Okay, so after every workout or practice, I get with the receivers because they like to go against me. They like to attack the All-American, I guess. But after every practice and workout, we do releases and press releases and different type of things to get each other better.
Awesome. Thank you, Julius, for that response. David, you had another one for the D-line kids, so I think that is referring to Mr. Kenny Randall.
Yeah, Kenny, what is your size right now? What's your current weight?
I'm 6'2", 320.
And where do you primarily play the nose and the one, or are you like a 3 or a 4?
I'm in the nose, specifically okay. Nose, sometimes shade.
Sometimes shade. Where do you feel most comfortable?
I like the nose spot. I love that zero technique.
What's the heaviest you've played at?
335 I played at last year.
Where's your most comfortable weight playing?
320. I feel good at playing 320 right now. I feel like I'm moving. I feel like I'm light on my feet.
And you hold the point well?
Yes, sir. I love that double team.
Attaboy. All right, thank you.
Thank you, David. Again, that's Mr. David Turner making the cameo with us tonight. Former 18-year NFL, CFL, Arena League scout. He is in the building. Thank you, David, for being with us. Appreciate it. If you haven't heard, Friday Night Scout School every week, 9 Eastern time. Me and David are on there. We also do Mavs Sports Take, released every Wednesday, where we, usually try to schedule to an hour, and we usually go an hour and a half. So, me and David could talk a little bit. So, next question, Mr. Paul Duncan, if you want to come off, you have a question for JaQuan Hardy.
Yes, JaQuan, I was able to watch your tape against Findlay. I was actually planning on coming down to a Tiffin game because I'm actually in Brook Park right now, so I'm an Northeast Ohio guy. And I noticed in that Findlay game, I actually counted that you had like 11 broken tackles. But one of the things I wasn't really able to see that was kind of sad is I never got to really see how what your skill set would be on third down in the passing game. Do you want to how is your pass catching skills and your pass blocking skills, and what are you doing to improve upon them?
So to answer that, right now I'm catching 100 tennis balls a day and 50 footballs a day. But to answer your other question, I would say is I wanted to get the ball thrown to me outside of the backfield, but I wasn't able to. I can only say so much. I'm a player. But I don't know. I tried telling my coach, even that, put me at kick return if you need me. Whatever I need to do, I'm willing to help. I'm willing to do whatever I need to do. So that's something you should ask my coach, really. But right now, I'm literally catching 100 tennis balls a day, 50 real footballs a day. So.
Yeah, that's great that you have a routine, and it can be frustrating as like a scout. I don't want to knock you for hands if I've only seen you catch 2 passes. So it's like I just throw it in that section of things we don't know, or things you're gonna need to show at like East-West Shrine or Senior Bowl. So that's going to be something that is going to really shoot you up boards if you can prove that you can do it. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how you play.
I agree with you.
I love it.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Paul, for the question. JaQuan, thank you for the answer. I gave JaQuan a little stylistic comparison when we did our interview. He kind of reminded me a little bit of a Devonta Freeman, how he ran the football. He's a nice little good size back, runs very low to the ground, has great balance. So a little comparison there. Draft guy Jimmy, my guy Jimmy is in the building. He has a question also for JaQuan. If you want to come off of mute, Jim.
Yeah, I just had a question for you. Do you see yourself as a leader? And if you do, what kind of a leader are you?
I see myself as a leader, yes. But at the same time, I see myself as a person, as if I need to say something, I will say something. But I will also lead by example. So what I mean by that is I'll hype my guys up if I need to. I'll say what I need to, but I'm not the type of person to sit there and talk all day because actions speak louder than words. So I'm the type of person to lead by example. So, yes, I'm a leader.
Cool.
Love it. Thank you, Jimmy, for the question. I see you got a couple more coming up. I'm going to kind of break the Q&A for a second. Just want to go back to Zach real quick. Zach, I know this offseason, right, with so much free time, some people are trying hobbies maybe they never have. My sister-in-law just started crocheting even though she's 25. It's really weird. I don't know why that's a thing, but I've been cooking my butt off, trying new recipes, doing all that type of stuff. What's a hidden talent or something you've been doing this offseason that maybe you picked up on?
Man, it's crazy you asked that. I've actually been riding my longboard a lot. Warrensburg's got a lot of hills. And it's kind of that moment of adrenaline and focus that we thrive for in the game. And it's something I've been separated for. So I've kind of used that as a getaway. And it just puts yourself on the edge, and especially when you get to moving fast. So it allows you to have the adrenaline rush along with having you to have the focus on what you're coming up on the road, et cetera.
I love it, man. Some of my best friends are skateboarders. They like to do the longboard thing too, man. So it's definitely a whole lot of fun. I want to move over to Brayden for my next question before we get back to the chat here. Brayden, I know you're originally from Bismarck, North Dakota, if I have that correct. My question is, man, I've never been to North Dakota. What the heck do people do in Bismarck, North Dakota?
I mean, my biggest hobbies are hunting and fishing, which probably sounds like everyone, but for that part of the country, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's not a whole lot of crazy things to do. It's pretty flat, but I mean, I like to do what I like to do, so I guess that's how it is.
I love it, man. I love it. North Dakota guys, I know Carson Wentz and those boys are also big hunters and fishermen too. So
Yeah.
love it so much. I want to move over to try to get as many questions as we can. Julius, question for you, my friends. A dream matchup. You already talked about the obviously the dream of playing at the professional level. Who's a wide receiver that you want to face off with and test your skills against?
Man, I want to go against Julio Jones.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
I love it. I love it. That's Alex's boy. Alex is a Atlanta Falcons fan, unfortunately.
That's
for him.
here. We don't have to go in depth there. That's just unfortunate right
Oh
now.
man, it's not a good
It's
time to be
it's
a
been rough.
Falcon,
It's
man.
it's been a rough couple weeks.
It's been a rough couple of years, but
Yeah. Well,
different
you know
time.
what?
All right. We got Jimmy's going to come back on with us. I believe he had his next question was for Dareke Young.
I had a couple questions for you, actually, Dareke. So, I mean, first of all, is tell me about maybe like one of the more memorable plays of your career so far. I mean, you've kind of been used in a lot of different ways. So, which one really stands out to you?
Yes, sir. The one play that stands out to me was my first game my sophomore year, and we played West Alabama. I didn't play. I was a special teams guy my freshman year, so my sophomore year I got to start in the new offense with Coach Cronic. But we was down by a touchdown. It was 4th and 10. We were on like the 48-yard line, and we ran smash, and I caught a corner over a DB for a touchdown to tie the game up. We didn't win the game, but that play right there, like, really gave me the confidence that I was going to be a great player for this school, because I didn't play that much my freshman year. So that really gave me the edge that I have now.
Great. And the next question I had for you is, I've actually seen a couple of videos of your teammates really killing it in the weight room. Dan Luba, Jason Poe, those guys are really putting up some mad weight. What's been like your favorite exercise in the weight room?
Yes, sir. My favorite exercise in the weight room is power clean. I feel like that's my best lift. I don't squat 600 pounds, but I get out there in the weight room. I actually won Male Performer of the Year, not of the year, of the month of September. So I get out there in the weight room. Power clean is my favorite lift.
Awesome.
Love it. Thank you
So
again.
I see that Paul has a question here, and I'll just go ahead and ask it just to make it easy. But I'm going to ask kind of open floor here. What are some of the best guys you've gone up against at the Division II level? Kenny, do you have anyone in offensive lineman maybe that you struggled with the most that you see maybe could get to the next level?
The guy that I would think of is the center from Shepherd. I played him not last year, but the year before that. I'm not too sure where he is now, but that guy, he was working. He was working.
Was he working you more than you were working him? Like, come on, give us a little bit.
No. I don't never let nobody outwork me.
Oh, okay.
I get it in. Yeah, I get it in.
I had to double check.
No, I'm taking on double teams, triple teams. I get it in.
I love it. Kenny, I got a Jersey question for you in a minute, but I want to let's spin that to the other guys on the panel if we can. Brayden, if you want to come off, is there somebody that stands out as maybe the best player that you maybe have gone up against one-on-one?
I'm going to be honest, it's going to be the guy that was on our team. His name's Evan Heim. Obviously, he graduated after his redshirt senior year this last year. He got a lot of NFL guys scouts coming every day, every practice, however you want to look at it, wanting to see what he's got. But, having the ability to go against him multiple different reps throughout every single practice definitely has helped me to be the player who I am today. Sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Zach, if you want to come off and just a guy that maybe stands out, safety, linebacker, whoever it might be.
Mine would have to be the DN from Ferris State, Austin Edwards, who was actually picked up as an undrafted guy for the Falcons, big Falcons guy. He just had a level of dominance each play, whether it was going up against me or some of the guys inside. He just always had a presence in the run game, in the pass game. He was always the focus of their defense on top of their strong secondary.
Yeah, and he was a very good football player. That's a big guy too. That's a big defensive end, to say the least. JaQuan, is there somebody that maybe you met in the hole and for a second you were like, oh man, he's a decent little player?
So I would say my own teammate Charlie Cleveland. He plays DN here. Every single play, he keeps me on my toes and he makes me think of a plan B. I would say of a second option from where I need to go. Because that man, he's a grown man. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a grown man.
Definitely. All right, I want to move over to Julius. Julius, you can't say yourself at wide receiver, okay? Let me hear your guy.
I'm gonna say that freshman down in West Florida, the quarterback Austin Reed.
Oh, he's good.
Man, yep. to be a freshman, man, he gave it to us, man. I can't lie. He gave it to us. Beat us like 50-3. That's probably the worst beat down I ever got beat like. I ain't ever got beat like that before, but I caught an interception on him, but he gave us 6 touchdowns, and that was. I'm looking forward to seeing him this year too. By the way.
I love it.
You gotta have it.
You got to tune into that one. Delta State, West Florida, right?
West Florida, yeah.
Yeah, West Florida.
All right, and Dareke, ending you off on that question, my man. Who's the best player you think you've gone against on the level?
I would say my old teammate Kyle Duggar. Just going against him. Yeah, going against him every day. It was a bit unfair at times, but he made literally the whole offensive side better. But
who wins more reps, you or him?
Well, I never really went up against him, but like sometimes, I mean, we went against each other sometimes, but I say it was 50-50.
Okay.
Dareke, let's put it into a little more of a scenario here. Ready? So you're both in the league now. You have a one-on-one opportunity with them. Maybe they put you in the slot for whatever reason, right? Kyle Duggar's coming down in his little look. He's man-to-man on the slot. Who's going to win that rep in the crucial moments of the game?
Me.
I love it. Oh, look, I'm serious too. I love it. I love the serious-based me. Easy buddy, right? I love it.
Yes, sir.
Kenny, I told you I was coming back with the jersey question, man. So I have to say, I'm a little more north than you are in Atlantic City. But I will say there's been a debate and this is probably the most important question that's going to be asked tonight. There's been a debate for the longest time, since the age of man, on whether there is a central jersey. Kenny, we know there's a north, we know there's a south. Is there a central jersey?
No.
No, I don't think so either, right? You're either north or you're south, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, there we go. I just had to get that one off my chest, man. I've been holding on to that one for years. No, go ahead.
I thought you were going to ask me about the pork roll question that everybody always asks.
Oh, Taylor Hammer pork roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call so you go to the deli counter, right? And you get a sandwich. What do you call that?
Chopped cheese?
Oh, I'm talking about the whole sandwich. What's the whole sandwich called?
The pork roll, egg and cheese?
Nah, just like I don't want to say it because I'm going to give it up, man. We'll talk offset. Forget it. We'll talk later. All right. I want to go back to Mr. Zach Davidson, making our rounds here. We're doing great on time, by the way. I'm usually terrible at time management. So, Zach, there is a debate in the NFL. It's been a debate for the last couple of years now. George Kittle, Travis Kelce. In your opinion, who's the best tight end in football right now?
Shit, right now George Kittle ain't playing, so I'd have to say my boy Travis Kelce from right up the road. I mean, I've been a fan of him. I mean, just the impact he's had in the receiving game, and he's not much in the box like I am. I relate to him in that sense. And but George Kittle, man, he's a presence inside the box, outside the box, play action, lead block. I mean, if you were to have an all-around tight end, I'd have to say George Kittle.
You know what, Ryan? I like that question. I'm going to take that to Junior at the cornerback position because that's been something on Twitter I've seen as an argument for a long time. Who's the best corners? It's Stephon Gilmore. Tre'Davious White has made his rounds as one of those guys as potentially being the top guy. Who do you think the top guy is?
Man, I'm going to have to say Gilmore, man. He a technician, man. He a technician.
Dog. He's a dog.
He is. He definitely is.
Sure.
He got – what is he? He's the only 99 in Madden, isn't he? I think I saw that somewhere on Twitter.
Corner?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lattimore. Somebody just said Lattimore. No, and Lattimore not in the no.
Oh,
Y'all gonna
Davidson.
I like Marcus,
disrespect
man.
Jalen Ramsey?
No, I like Ramsey, man, but he been falling, bro.
I love that because the corner. That's one of the because when I saw the name, I was like, you know what, the cornerback position is so argued over who's the best. There's so many names you could throw out there. Personally, I think Trey White's up there with all the names y'all mentioned.
No doubt.
I'm a big fan of Trey
He
White
good.
from LSU and now with Buffalo. So,
doubt.
so I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I know when we did our cornerback breakdown, David Turner did a hot take and said that he thought Marshawn Lattimore was better than Darrelle Revis. Not to put him on the spot here, but we'll talk about that one a little later, I'm sure, maybe another night. I want to talk to Brayden here. Brayden, I know you're a guy, you know, really well built. You got the big frame. I know you can work inside, you can work outside. You can probably do a little bit of everything on the defensive line. My question for you is, what is your go-to pass rush move? If you need a win, where are you going to?
I mean, I can never say I love the speed, but I'm a big counter guy. I'll take that, but I mean, it's all about keys and eyes. I got to make sure that guard's not coming to, make sure there's room, because if I got to use speed, I got to use speed. Or the long arm, big ghost. But
Awesome. I appreciate that so much. And we have a couple more questions for the guys. If anybody wants to throw in a couple more last minute questions, we only have about 10 minutes left. So we got plenty of time here to answer a couple more. I want to go to who I want. I got a good one somewhere, I think. JaQuan, I'm putting you on the spot. Ready for it? Super Bowl pick. Who's your early favorite? Who's your pick?
Oh, that's a great question. Right now, the Chiefs smacking stuff. So, man, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I ain't gonna lie.
I think it's easier now that Monday night game's over. If you would have asked that last week, it would have been a bigger question. But
You're not lying. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not lying.
Pat or Russell? Pat or Russell?
Yeah, I don't know. The Seahawks. Yeah, the Seahawks have some stuff
I have
too.
to go Pat, man.
Russell is playing on an ungodly level right now, to say the least.
Yeah,
Has to be the early
MVP up
MVP
there.
favorite. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Seahawks look scary. Speaking as a Rams fan, unfortunately for me at the moment, the Seattle Seahawks look very good. So I want to go, Kenny. We can't get you off of here, man, without talking about that backflip, right? If you haven't seen this, go on Kenneth Randall. You can find his backflip that just went a little viral, right? He got a few thousand views. Kenny, 320 pounds doing backflips, man. My question, more importantly, is when did you find out that at that size you could do a backflip?
I was always able to do a front handspring. So last week, my coach was on me like every day, just like, can you do it? Can you try to do it? So I found some little dance instructor, cheerleader person out here to help me. And last week, I just learned how to do it. It was the flip part that scared me. Like going backwards was the main part. So once I got that, everything was easy.
Awesome.
I got a question for Zach, actually. So we talked about, you playing tight end on the offensive side of the ball, obviously punting on special teams. All right, so if you're playing defense, where are you playing?
Punter. It's on the defense. I got a first-team all-conference plaque for it. No, I'd probably have to say I'm a coverage safety. I mean, I'm a big guy, cover a lot of space. I'm pretty quick for being
Yeah,
6'.
a lot of length.
I got a big frame. Yeah, I'd probably say I'm a coverage safety.
Shout out to Paul Duncan for putting Kenny's backflip in the chat. If anybody wants to take a look at that right there, copy and paste that guy into your browser. Dareke, been quiet for a little bit, man. We've been skipping over you. I need to ask you the very important question as well. There's only one meal that you can eat for the rest of your life every day. You can only pick one meal. What's your choice meal?
I would have to say
It's a tough one, I know. I'm really cutting you off at the legs there, but it needs to be asked.
probably hibachi.
Hibachi. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. I love it, man. I love it. We already asked you about Kyle. We don't need to know about that. Well, actually, Dareke, let's stick with you for a second. We talked about a guy maybe moving over to defense. If you were a defensive player, where do you think that you would play?
I would say I'll put myself at corner.
Corner?
Put myself at corner, challenge myself being on the island.
Love it. I'm looking through what other questions we have.
Actually, I got one for Junior, actually.
Sure.
Do you prefer to play on the boundary or on the field side?
It doesn't really matter. I kind of like being on the left side more.
Oh, okay.
The
So you're
left
more of
side.
a side of the
Yeah.
formation more so than
Yeah.
what side of the I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. And then you said you like to play a lot of press. So if there's give me an example of a wide receiver, like maybe there's different archetypes, I guess. That's my NBA 2K term there. There's different
Right.
archetypes of wide receivers. You have the Tyreek Hills, you have the Julios, as you mentioned before. What type of receiver do you think you match up best against?
The one, like I said, like Julio, Michael, DeAndre, those types. I'm real physical and they real physical. So I think we'll be a good matchup.
I like it. I like that.
And Junior, I actually want to stick with you. And again, I'm inviting anybody last-minute questions. We only have about like 6 or 7 minutes left until the 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. But I want to ask for you, hobbies. I asked this to Brayden as well earlier. I'm really curious. I might actually just go to everybody on this. Is there something that during the quarantine that you did maybe a lot of that you were just doing just to pass time that maybe has turned into a little bit of a hobby for you?
Man, I've been doing a lot of mud riding. I love mud riding. That's a big thing for me. I'm from the country, so I do a lot of mud riding. I've been playing a lot of 7-on-7. I love 7-on-7. I've been playing a lot of pick up basketball, things of that nature. So I just like being active, man. Sweating daily, man. Things of that nature, bro.
And one thing I have fun with, Julius, is when I talked to Coach Terry, right? He was telling me about his playing career. Can you believe at some point that he may have been better than you? Can you believe that?
No. No. He's okay now, but no, he's not on my level. That's my guy, but not on my level, man. He wasn't an All-American, man.
Oh, that's where you got to tell him. You got to make sure he knows.
He my guy, though. He my guy.
I love it. All right, so we got Junior told us what his hobby is. We got it from Zach as well. So let's go real quick through. Maybe this will be our last segment of questions here. Kenny, if I had to ask you what a hobby is of yours, it could be something that you picked up during the COVID-19 quarantine, or it could just be something in general that maybe people don't know about you.
So, me, 320, I like to eat. Me and my girl, like the chef, we'll be having competitions in here trying to see who can cook the best food.
Nice. What's the go-to?
My go-to meal is chicken parm.
Oh, I love it.
That's my favorite.
I love chicken parm.
It is too late for me to be eating, but I just got really hungry. Dareke, could we go to you on maybe a hobby of yours that maybe people don't know much about?
Coming into college, I kind of grew out of video games, but over quarantine, I kind of got back into like playing Madden with friends and stuff. So I would say I became a little bit of a gamer during quarantine.
Gotcha. And JaQuan, same question to you, my friend. What's a little hobby that you have that maybe people don't know too much about?
So I just got into yoga, and I'm almost there with juggling 3 balls. Like, remember how we talked about the tennis balls? Yeah, I'm almost there.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow.
But, I'm a big game head too, though. I'm a big game head.
Okay. What are you playing?
So the new Call of Duty came out. It was for free for the PlayStation, and it was the Cold War, the alpha. So other than that, I'm Madden, GTA, a little bit of Fortnite. Can't complain. So,
JaQuan, are you a serious player or are you just casual? Let me hear it.
I'm a serious player. I have paddles on my PlayStation controller, so I would say
yeah.
I'm a sweat. I'm
Yeah.
I can't lie.
He's got the paddles on the back.
I love it. So let's move over to Brayden. Brayden, I know you say you like to do a lot of hunting, like do all the stuff in the country. What's something else maybe that might be a hobby of yours?
I would say it's going to be like he was saying, pick up basketball. I just like to be active, man. I like to always be doing something, whether it's basketball. I mean, I did some track in college too. I mean, it's just a matter of just doing something.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to ask about the track background too. That's a good mention. Basketball, Brayden. I know everybody says they're good. Do you have game?
I can play.
All right. I like it, man. I like it. I think we got through everybody on the last question. I think David Turner wants to come on with the last question. David, if you want to come off and ask that one, you can.
Hey, everybody. I'm kind of curious. When you guys are making decisions, who's your who's your go-to person that you turn to help you make that decision to walk through it, talk through it, and ultimately be your major influencer when making decisions?
Parents.
My mom.
Mine's definitely my family, but we got this guy by the name of John Behrens. He runs our chapel, which is we have it every Friday before game days, and that's definitely my go-to guy when I need to talk.
I have to say parents too, along with me and my girlfriend have been together for 5.5 years. So we've been through a lot of experiences. So we tend to lean on each other a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom for sure. She been there since the beginning. My mom for sure.
I would say my mom as well. Nobody know me better than my mom, so definitely her.
That's how it should be, man. Mom should know everything. Jimmy put into the chat, Brayden 55 and 5.5 in shot put, and we got 186 and 8 inches in the javelin. Brayden, I don't know if we ever talked about that, but I actually was a thrower as well and a track coach for a decent amount of time, a thrower coach. So definitely know how impressive those types of numbers are. David, we thank you so much for putting that into the chat and asking that question for us. I think that's very important. I think that's a great way to end this one. Again, we have Zach Davidson, Julius Jr. Falk. We got JaQuan Hardy. We got Kenny Randall in the building. Mike Strom was not able to be with us tonight, but that's okay. We got Brayden Thomas, and we got Mr. Dareke Young in the house for you all tonight. I want to thank you, first and foremost, everybody, for taking some time with us tonight. I want to thank everybody, and this is as true as I can say, on the panel for taking some time. These are great young men, great football players, and I appreciate them sharing their stories, spending some time with us, taking an hour out of their night just to really just boast a little bit about their accomplishments and talk about their experiences. I appreciate all the viewers. I appreciate my co-host, Alex Gilstrap, for coming on with me tonight. Real quick, Friday Night Scout School, if anybody doesn't know about it, 9 o'clock Eastern time, every Friday, part of NFL Draft Bible. I do it every week, every Friday with Mr. David Turner. We also do Mavs Sports Take podcast. You can find on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. Make sure to follow everything, NFLDraftBible.com. We appreciate you all so much for taking some time to us. Make sure to check us out. And we will be back soon again with another seminar. I've had the privilege of speaking to a lot of these guys in individual interviews in the past. I'm sure I would love to get together with them in that capacity again. So thank you all to all my players in the panel. Appreciate you all so much for coming on. Appreciate all the viewers for listening with us. Alex, if you want to end us off here, man, appreciate you as always for taking some time with us as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you for having me. Thank you, NFL Draft Bible, for giving us the best of the best. We said this at the beginning of the show. This is the premier talent. Looking forward to the NFL potentially or a professional career in some capacity coming from the Division II level. So I appreciate all these guys for taking time out, like Ryan said, to come out, just kind of give those backstories and just getting those names out. That's what all this was about is, you had the senior season cut short with COVID or moved to the spring, and this is just a way to get those names out there. These are people that can play on Sundays. So we just want to get those names out there, and I appreciate y'all coming on and talking with us.
Absolutely. Accomplished football players, great people, future NFL players as well. So appreciate you all again so much. My panel, all the viewers, thank you all and have a great night.